Hi everyone, welcome back. I'm sitting up close and personal once again. I wanted to dedicate this video to answering some of the questions that I received from my recent life update video. For those of you who have watched that and left me such amazing, warm, kind, and supportive comments, I want to say thank you very, very much. It did sound like my story resonated with a lot of you, and it sounded like some of you were dealing with your own form of burnout or you were on the brink of burnout. And if that is the case, I hope that you are taking the steps necessary to please take good care of yourself. So for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, I recently shared that I made the difficult decision to walk away from my corporate job. Yes, I quit my corporate job at the tail end of 2023, and I've decided to choose a path of health and peace of mind and freedom. So I'm going to elaborate here in this video. First, I want to say a big shout out to a favorite brand of mine called Neiwai. Neiwai is my go-to for bras and underwear, undergarments, and also I've been checking out some of their clothes lately. So I've talked about them before, especially in my 10 favorite purchases of 2023 video. I highlighted them, and this time around I was so excited because Neiwai actually reached out to me for a collaboration. So this video is in collaboration with the brand. They are celebrating their 12-year anniversary this month, and to commemorate the milestone, they have decided to highlight stories of real women overcoming obstacles and challenges and choosing a new path for themselves. And I thought, oh my gosh, how perfect, so aligned with what I've been going through, and just perfect timing. So I'm very happy to feature Neiwai in this video. I'm going to sprinkle in some of my favorites, my favorite products from the brand throughout the video, but let's jump into the questions first. Okay, one of the first questions that I received was, how is it possible to burn out from a common 9 to 5 when it's normal for everyone to work? And I know this question comes off sounding kind of judgmental, but I want to believe that the person who asked was asking in sincerity, and so I'm going to try my best to answer. We all know there is no such thing as a normal or common or typical 9 to 5 because it really depends on the nature of the work and where you work and who you're working with, and also what's going on in your own personal life as well, because we carry all of that energy and all those responsibilities and burdens into different areas of our life, right? So I will tell you just really briefly, the field of work that I was in, COVID has changed the nature of the work quite a bit. When COVID happened, a lot of businesses suffered, we all know that, and a lot of corporations had to lay off many people, and I was in a position at the time where I was in charge of eliminating all the positions, notifying all the people who were being terminated, reducing pay for certain positions, withholding bonuses. It was a lot of demoralizing work. Unfortunately, it had to get done, of course, and it was important work, but as an empath as well, I would absorb all of that energy. So the negativity, the sadness, the grief, the concerns, the worries of all of our employees, and so I absorbed all of that and I brought it home with me. And also at the same time, remember, I am a mom, I have 2 kids, my kids were much younger then, and at the time all of the schools had shut down. So I was working from home, dealing with a struggling business and having to lay off so many positions and dealing with people who were very upset. And at the same time, I had 2 kids at home with me 24/7 trying to learn remotely on their iPads. We had tech issues, we had meltdowns. My husband was working in his office every day, and that was probably good for us because we didn't all need to be in the home together. It was already so chaotic. But at the same time, that left me to really be stretched between working and managing my kids being home and all the stuff in between. And I know that many of you can relate, and some of you had it even harder. We already know that occupations like teaching and nursing and other medical professionals had it really hard, and I don't think those fields have fully recovered back to what it was like before COVID. But let's not forget that a lot of positions within corporate as well have been impacted quite significantly. On top of that, let's not forget that there are other responsibilities that we carry with us. I know firsthand in supporting employees who are going through all kinds of life situations, caring for an aging parent. They had gone through multiple rounds of IVF and the last one had failed. They were mourning the death of a loved one. Their spouse or partner had recently lost their job and they were concerned about their job security and was living with anxiety, right? There's a lot that could be going on behind the scenes, so we can't just look at a job as a 9 to 5. Also, if you're like me, I've always pushed myself a little bit too much, probably unnecessarily, so a 9 to 5 was never just a 9 to 5. If there was work that needed to get done urgently, or if I was needed in some way, I would make myself available most of the time. And I know now that I played a significant role in my own burnout, so I take full responsibility for that. I've learned a lot about boundaries. I've gotten better over the years, but when there are fires happening all around, most of us tend to want to extend ourselves. Okay, next question was, how did I know it was time for me to walk away? Did I just wake up one day and know, make that decision, kind of a light bulb moment? I wish. I really wish. It was a lot of different things. First of all, my health was deteriorating, so that was the biggest, loudest sign for me. My body was rebelling against me constantly pushing myself. I talked about that in my life update video. I'll link that if you missed it. But aside from the health issues, I also realized that I was starting to really worry my loved ones, my parents, my husband, my kids, my close friends. I was becoming a burden of worry and thinking that I was selflessly working so hard, but I was actually being selfish by creating concern for the people who cared about me because I wasn't taking good care of myself. Also, I read a lot of books, and reading for me is cathartic. I learn a lot through reading. I don't know what I would do without books, and there were some books that helped me over the years immensely. One of them was To Hell with the Hustle. The other is When the Body Says No. Another one is Your Money or Your Life. The Fun Habit really helped me to audit how much I was playing and enjoying joyfully in my life, where I was challenging myself to stretch versus just zoning out, numbing out, and doing things I didn't want to do. And then another book was Die with Zero. Those last two books actually I read on one of my solo trips. So that's another thing that I did. I went on 2 solo trips almost back to back last year. Unheard of for me. I had never gone on a solo trip by myself other than business trips, or if I was flying to go meet people, like if I was going to meet my friends at the destination. But last year I went into the woods, into nature by myself, all by myself. Me, myself, and I, to quiet the noise, to really go inward, to quiet my ego. I've talked about this. My ego was so loud. My ego was telling me to keep chasing the prestige and the status and the money. And I needed to shut my ego up because it wasn't serving me. The ego, by the way, is never satisfied, as we know, right? So I had to just tune everything out and go inward and listen to my heart, tune into my body. And that was really helpful going on a solo trip. So I know some of you have mentioned that you were considering going on a solo trip or just having like a solo day. And I do highly recommend it because there's just so much noise in our heads, and it's nice to be able to just go into a place of quiet. So it was all those things, the reading, the concern of my family and friends, the solo trips, the quieting of the mind, also therapy. I tried therapy for the first time in my life last year. I did 3 months of therapy. It was perfect timing, and it was weekly sessions. I did it virtually. I know one of you had mentioned that you're also based in New York, and you asked if I could refer my therapist, but actually I found her through betterhelp.com. It was the Christian counseling arm of BetterHelp, and I think they got absorbed, so you'd have to go onto the site and look around. But I am a Christian, and I thought getting some faith-based counseling would be helpful, and it was immensely helpful. And I also mentioned that I was skeptical about therapy, so I'll address that because one of you asked. I was definitely skeptical, and it wasn't because I didn't believe in therapy, but 2 reasons. One, I have a background in psychology, so I was really arrogant, to be frank with you, thinking that I already knew enough about myself that I didn't need a therapist. I thought I just needed to make a damn decision and build up the courage to walk away from my corporate job, and no therapist can really help me with that. I was wrong. My therapist walked me through a lot. It was immensely helpful to have just some other human being to talk to who was unbiased, who was trained in these matters. And the second reason is because I'm a trained coach. I'm a coach practitioner, and I have been coaching many people at leadership level, C-suite level, and I usually coach them towards faster, further, sort of an acceleration, breaking through obstacles, moving forward. And so it was kind of a different notion for me to go backward a little bit. And when I say backward, I mean therapy is a look back into the past, looking at childhood, perhaps thought patterns. And some of that is also involved in coaching, but coaching is much more a look forward versus a look back. So I will say they're both helpful, and if you can couple them together, I bet it would be even more powerful. So I've now learned that. And then one of you was also really observant in saying that I seem to be a bit of a perfectionist. Even when I look at like Louis Vuitton bags, I nitpick every little thing, and yes, it's exhausting, and yes, I am a perfectionist. That doesn't mean that I'm perfect. What it means is that I'm always striving for better, for constant improvement, and it has served me well in my work because I get recognition for that. I'm known as the person who gets it right, but it is absolutely draining and exhausting because I apply it to many different areas of my life. And the question from one of you was, do you think that contributed to my burnout? And the answer is yes. So much so, yes. And that's another thing that I learned through my reading and my reflection, and also through therapy. So I am working on embracing the good enough, because the mantra of a perfectionist is that it's never enough. And so once I flip that script to it's more than enough and it's good enough, it has been incredibly cathartic and releasing and very healthy. Now, this is me being incredibly open and vulnerable with you guys because I trust this community, but I do think a lot of my perfectionism and also my workaholism comes from a deeply rooted belief that my self-worth comes from what I do and what I contribute versus who I am. And so I have been slowly working on that, slowly changing my frame of mind and really leaning into the mindset of gratitude and abundance and good enough, and knowing that the universe will take care of me, that I don't have to constantly strive, that I don't have to chase, that I already have so much in my life to be thankful for, that I am blessed. So if you have deep-seated thoughts and beliefs that are holding you back, then it would be helpful for you to really examine those and perhaps talk to someone and break down where those come from and what you can do to change your thought process. Because the way we talk to ourselves is so important. It can really empower us or break us down. Okay, there were some more questions regarding the practical side. So how did we prepare financially for me to quit? I will answer that. Questions about health insurance, what other sources of income do we have, and how much did YouTube play a role in my decision? So I will answer that as well, but let me quickly show you my favorites from Neiwai. This is not the first time that I'm showing you these, but I have to show you again. So this is my favorite bra from their Barely Zero collection. It is so incredibly comfortable. Yes, it is so stretchy. I was actually skeptical about them because they are a one-size-fits-all type of setup, and I was like, how is that possible? I am small chested, and a lot of the bras that I've tried in the past, there would be gapping, like there would be a space here. And so I thought, how would this fit an A cup and a B cup and a C cup and all fit us well? So as an A cup, I will tell you, there's no gapping. It's so comfortable. It just molds to my body. It's so stretchy. And I bought these for my mom and my sister, you guys might remember, for Christmas. And this is the text message that my sister sent me. She was raving about it. She said she loved it and that she was ordering 2 more for herself. And my mom called me and she was like, where did you find these bras? And I also know that many of you have ordered some after watching my video last year. And some of you were like, I'm a B cup, I'm a C cup, I'm a D cup. I'm like, how does it work? It's like magic, but it works, I'm telling you. So this is the spaghetti strap one, which is really nice for like tanks and dresses if you don't want the straps to show. But I also love this one. This is probably the most comfortable. The thicker strap, this is the classic 2.0. I'll link everything down below. These are so comfortable. I have thrown away all of my other bras, and even when I work out and do Pilates, I only wear this. I don't wear sports bras anymore because these are more comfortable. And typically when I go to sleep, I have to take off all of my jewelry and my bra, but I keep forgetting to take off my bra because it's like a second skin. I'm telling you, they're amazing. And then last year, I didn't want to show you my underwear because, you know, it's underwear, but these are new, so I'll show you. Amazing, again from the Barely Zero collection. There's all different colors. This is the treacly almond color, which I like, kind of goes with my skin tone. And for the first time, I am trying their leggings because I want to be just as comfortable when I go to Pilates. So I'm going to wear these leggings, and they're so good. It's like nothing. They're weightless, they're stretchy, they mold, they hug. They're so good. So I know we talk a lot about self-care and the importance of self-care. I feel like self-care starts from the inside out, you know, your thoughts and how you're nourishing yourself, how you're taking care of your body. And when it comes to taking care of your body, some of it is dressing comfortably. Like, you want it to feel good. My whole direction this year is what makes me feel good. Seriously, what makes me feel good? Thoughts that make me feel good, that empower me and make me feel strong. Food, nourishment that makes me feel strong and good. Clothing that makes me feel confident, because when you're confident, you exude that and it transmits into the actions that you take. Okay, so how do we prepare financially? So I will say that this burnout did not happen overnight. It was a slow creep. And I mentioned that it probably happened over a few years. I'm going to say about 4 to 5 years. In truth, we had several years to prepare. Now, going way back from the beginning, we have always, as a family, lived well below our means. So that has helped us to save aggressively. And you guys know, if you've watched my other personal finance videos, I'm fairly conservative, even though I know it doesn't make a lot of sense because I have a luxury YouTube channel, but I believe that you can enjoy nice things and be responsible. So we have always lived well below our means, and we have saved very aggressively, and we have invested consistently. I am, I guess, what you would call self-taught. I taught myself about investing when I was in my 20s, And so I've been investing every year like clockwork. It's automated. I won't get into all the details because I've shared a lot more in my personal finance videos in the past. I will say that we have enough of a nest egg built up outside of our retirement planning that we feel secure about my decision to walk away from corporate life. Someone asked what other sources of income we have. We do have my husband's job, and thankfully he enjoys his work, so that is the bulk of our income now that my corporate income is not coming in. But we also have passive sources of income. He's got some passive streams through some projects that he has. We also have real estate investments, so we collect income from our tenants. We have passive income from our stock investments and dividends that we receive. I of course have YouTube income. You all know that I do earn some income through YouTube. My YouTube income is not the same as my corporate income. There is a fairly large gap, but I consider YouTube to be a bonus because it's my happy place, it's my outlet, I get to have a lot of fun, and I generate some income from it. So it's sort of a whole package. Someone had asked me how much YouTube factored into my decision, and I will say that it factored in that I knew that once I walked away from corporate, I would still have something to call my own, something that I could work on, that would just be mine, my project, and that was important to me. I'm also incredibly thankful to YouTube because I feel like YouTube allowed me to stay in the corporate life longer than I would have, meaning about 4 or 5 years ago, I was starting to really have a difficult time. And as I mentioned, the burnout probably started then, and then it was like a slow creep and it got worse. But I remember back then saying that I wanted to quit. And I think by starting my YouTube channel, I got just enough of an outlet, just enough of a release from my day-to-day that I was able to keep going in my corporate life for the last few years. So in a way, YouTube has extended my corporate life. And as much as I burnt out, I'm also really thankful. Someone asked about health insurance. So I was the sole provider of health benefits to our family. My husband is self-employed, so he doesn't have health insurance. So that was kind of a big hang up for me for a number of years, but I realized that there will always be something that tries to hold us back. And so because we had taken the financial steps to prepare over the years, I came to terms with the fact that we will no longer have the health benefits through my corporate job. We will pay out of pocket or through private insurance, and I know that's costly, but the job itself was not worth it for me just to hang on to the health benefits. It was costing me my health. It was costing me my one precious life. It was costing me my time. There are options like I said, private healthcare, or there's a group called One Medical Group. And some jobs, when you leave, you can also sign up for a COBRA. And then if you happen to be Christian as well, I know there are faith-based health plans that are not technically insurance plans, but I have quite a few friends who participate in this where I understand you pay into the plan, and then if you have a medical emergency or a medical cost that comes up, you submit the expense, and then other participants in the plan will chip in to help you cover that. So you just have to do your own research and kind of do the number crunching to see what the best option is for you and your family. Another question that I found to be very interesting was whether or not I thought that my burnout, my stress and exhaustion led me to shop more and overconsume. And it's interesting. So I think that when I am a little bit tired and a little bit stressed and a little bit bored, I shop because it's fun. And I know many of us can relate to that. But when I was super stressed and burnout and feeling sick in the body and constantly visiting the doctor and getting an IV drip put in, shopping was probably the last thing on my mind. So I go back to the important topic of self-care, because a lot of times we think shopping is self-care, and it could feel good and it can help us de-stress sometimes, again, when we're feeling just a little tired, just a little bored. But I think when you're truly burnt out, you need deeper work, you need deeper self-care. And I'm talking proper rest and sleep, nourishment, staying hydrated, checking your thought patterns, speaking to yourself in a different way, spending time with people who uplift you, saying no to invitations that are not worth your time, saying no to relationships that are burdening you or making you feel brought down, taking care of your body, tuning into your body, giving yourself what it is that you need. Because my escape went from a little bit of shopping here and there to, oh my gosh, I want to escape my life. And so I would go away, I would go on solo trips, and I would disassociate from my life, and I would numb out, and I would want to disconnect from the day-to-day, and I'd be just checked out. So don't let it get to that point. And if you feel like you're already at that point, please take care of yourself. Take baby steps. Go to bed a little earlier. Give yourself an extra hour. Make sure you eat a really nutritious meal. Go see a doctor. Speak with a therapist. Go exercise. Reduce your work hours if you can afford to. Save more money. Pay yourself first. Don't pay everyone else first. I know we have to pay the bills and we have things to buy and, we want to enjoy life, but pay yourself first. That's what we did all these years. I was always about paying myself first. Even when I made very little money, entry-level income, I just squeezed myself as much as I could to still pay myself just a little bit every month to get into the habit of creating a cushion. And now fast forward, I'm in a much more financially secure, stable, and free state. Baby steps. It's not going to happen overnight. And I don't want you to think, oh, she's so lucky she got to quit. I know I'm fortunate. I feel privileged and blessed. But this was a long time coming. And if I can make it happen for myself, so can you. So again, I want to say thank you to one of my all-time favorite brands, Neiwai, for collaborating with me on this video. They were generous to share a 15% off promo code just for my followers. It's HCC. If you place an order, you can save 15% off, valid through April 30th of this year. And thanks so much for being here. Thank you so much for being a part of this community and just being an amazing group of humans. I hope this video was helpful in some way. If it resonated with you, please give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.